Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Johnny Sue is still spinning on those ones and twos. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for bearing with us. We've been on the road chasing down elections here in Florida. I am still. And we went through a crazy primary, did we not, fam?
Yeah, fam. I mean, it was totally another rigged primary, if I do say so myself. People still doing some investigations into it, but it really just showed me that we don't have any fair elections. If I wasn't convinced already, which I was, it just showed just how bad it is and how people really don't care or care very little. Simultaneously, while that was happening, we had the facade of the Democratic Convention, and everybody was just whining and crying about how dare the Democrats not listen to progressives. Well, we told you they wouldn't on this show, and I'm just sick of people holding on to these ideas that there's going to be a way to push Biden left. And you guys had a show about that earlier. I haven't gotten to see it, but that it's just that conversation again that people are trying to hold on to hope that somehow a Democratic presidency will make everything better, and it won't. So
yeah, we had that question. We said, one of the reasons to settle for Biden is that the progressives are going to push the Democrats left. I see no evidence of that. And furthermore, talking about the election we witnessed, they don't care about free and fair elections. So this whole UPS thing that's going on, which, don't get me wrong, we should care about the United States Postal Service and we shouldn't try to defund it, whatnot, but it's something that's been going on for
a long
years with
time.
the Republicans, and now
Absolutely.
they're just trying to say it's about election integrity. And as we know,
Right.
from witnessing this, they don't care about election integrity.
No.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just talked to one of our friends, Carlos, yesterday, who has worked for the U.S. Postal Service, and he was like, this has been happening for a very long time. Now, Trump has exacerbated the situation, of course, but this isn't something new. So it's obviously political move by the Democrats in order to pretend that they care about elections when literally they are the ones cheating in the primaries. Republicans are known for cheating in the general, but the Democrats love cheating in the primaries. And it's not a conspiracy theory, and we're going to continue showing that. We did a lot of great interviews, and we're going to continue talking about that. So, fam, let's get started.
Yeah, just want to say congratulations also to Clinton Curtis in Florida, who did win his primary. Jennifer Perlman did not, but however, fam, she had a great showing, over 25,000, 26,000 votes. So I want to give my hat off to her and her campaign. A lot of young people, couple Bernie people, young people, though. You kind of highlighted that, fam, and I thought that was amazing. So let's get into it, fam, because we're talking about this election that's coming up. And one of the things that we said is going to be really highly dependent on who wins and who loses is this money coming through during the pandemic. Well, the HEROES Act that was pushed through the House fell short as it went into the Senate, only because we know there was a lot of amendment provisions for voting issues, and there was no way McConnell was going to remove away the state's rights to look for verification, as he says it, and give the Democrats more ammunition to cheat with, vote by mail, and just load the ballot box up. So Donald Trump acted and signed in an executive order, which was very different than the 1,800 page of the HEROES Act that they were trying to push through. It was 4 simple things. And one of the things, fam, was the extended unemployment benefits that will be an extra $300 from the federal government, as long as the state agrees to kick an extra $100 in, giving people $400 extra. Well, I put in the first article right over there, and not to really hype on it, but each state from the CARES Act got a certain amount of money. And it says right over here in the second paragraph, Johnny, I believe, of the how much will each state get? It will say right here, the centerpiece of the state aid is the $150 billion coronavirus relief fund, which state, tribal, and local governments can use to meet costs connected with the virus. Each state will receive at least 1.25 billion, though the District of Columbia will only receive about $500 million. The most populous states, California and Texas, will receive over $10 billion each. So we talked about this, fam. They got the extra money. If, in fact, California doesn't give people the extra cash, if Texas doesn't give people the extra cash, it's going to take their legislation, and put it under a microscope, because now people are going to say, hey, if you're not going to give me extra unemployment benefits, what did you do with that money?
So I thought that Congress, though, went on vacation and they were going to try to come back with a better offer.
Yeah,
that's supposedly what they were supposed to be doing during this whole time. Like, they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna take a break and then we're going to come back and give Trump an offer. I mean, that's what Nancy Pelosi said. And, I believe everything Nancy Pelosi says.
Well, Nance neglected to tell the people that the Senate that is controlled by Mitch McConnell, and people have to realize this, Mitch McConnell was not going to open up business again. They already had the HEROES Act over there. They didn't want to take certain amendments out of it. And let me tell you this much, fam. If the Democrats had taken the amendments out for the elections, if they would have trimmed down $8 trillion, but most important, take out the amendments they were trying to change, okay, they would have passed this bill. And people would have gotten $600 plus an extra $1,200. They refused to do it. The Republicans said, we're not budging. They shut it down, and they make Donald Trump look like a champ now. Because as we are getting this extra money for the people who are eligible for it, they're going to say, oh, at least Donald Trump got us some money, while Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats, including Chuck the Schmuck, couldn't get anything done. So
for sure, people are getting this money if the state governors are putting the other $100.
Yep.
People have already gotten this money?
List right over here. Well, I think there are some situations, fam, where people will only get $300 that Donald Trump will even give them the money if they can't put up the extra 100 or apply for the waiver and try to put up the money themselves. The Democrats at first, as soon as he signed this executive order, is like, you can't do this. You can't do this. We control the finances in the House. That's what the House of Representatives does. But Donald Trump said, I'm going to go through FEMA and I can direct that money any way I want and get it to unemployment for the states and let them distribute the money. So here's a list of the states that are eligible. It says that 26 states have been approved by yesterday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Tejas, Utah, and Vermont. Fam, isn't it funny that Chuck the Schmuck in New York has to take the executive order forced fed by Donald Trump? Nancy Pelosi has to take the executive order forced fed by Trump. He is playing with these people at this point.
Wow. So just one more time. These are the states that are approved?
It says right there, approved. 26 states.
Okay.
To offer extra unemployment benefits around 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Monday. So who knows? It might be in the next check, fam. It might be in the next check. It wasn't in the first one after the CARES Act money expired, but it might be in the next one. And I'm curious, fam. We talked about this. Does this mean Donald Trump? I mean, I thought if the Democrats push back in California and Governor Newsom didn't get this money, that it would have flipped California. People would have been so pissed that California would have said, F you, Nancy Pelosi and Gavin Newsom. We're going with Trump, but they gave them the money. What does this mean for Donald Trump, though?
This means that Donald Trump right now has outlefted the Democrats when it comes to at least having a solution, because while you can blame Mitch McConnell in the Senate, Nancy Pelosi and people like Chuck the Schmuck haven't really provided an alternative. They have been filling their bills with pork instead of just straight up providing this COVID relief that people need. And by the way, it's not like the $400 is going to be, it's going to be enough for a lot of people. We're going to see a lot of people that were making over $50,000, $60,000 and up, are going to be really hurting because they're not making anywhere near to what they were getting paid at their jobs. And now they're unemployed. And we're going to see a tsunami of evictions start happening soon. And that's a whole other story, and not just evictions, but also people losing their houses that they bought, and the banks. And I mean, I think this is going to be worse than it's already worse than 2008. So the Democrats don't look like they're... It's definitely a bigger catastrophe. It's a bigger crisis and stuff like that. And a lot of people even pointing out the fact that in 2008, Obama didn't even give a moratorium. People just started getting evicted. They went into that forgiveness program. The wolves were pulled over their eyes. Steve Mnuchin robbed a bunch of houses and then were thrown out on their ass. But you know what? I'm glad that you mentioned it, because, fam, this is why I'm glad you're my partner, because you keep me grounded and you bring me back to life. Because even though Donald Trump is giving this money, you're talking about the breadwinners. Can you imagine a father
or a mother or somebody who's the breadwinner who makes the majority of money in their family to pay for their mortgage and all their stuff and their kids and everything they got going, maybe their other investments. Now that rug is pulled underneath you, because even with the extra 400, the cap out of 450 means you get only $850 a week. There are some families out there where one person made about $2,000 a week and was able to keep things going, and who knows what they're going to be able to go back to if and when they open up this economy, fam. It's so true. The tsunami of evictions has just been, the can has been kicked down the road. Yeah, it was a little bit of something there, so they can't evict us right away. But like you said, this could be even worse than 2008, and nobody, not the Democrats, not the Republicans, not Donald Trump, are really bringing forth any real solutions to the rent and mortgage price problems that will be hitting this country, and it will be hitting them hard.
And I just want to say, we were in Florida, and I noticed a couple of things that weren't true about Florida in regard to the COVID crisis. So a lot of people live in their liberal California bubble, and they think that everywhere in California is just, in Florida is just like, you know, it's a Republican-led state, so everything must be awful. I have to say, the vast majority of people in the areas that we were in were wearing masks. The vast majority of people, of businesses that were open, were extremely strict on letting you in, letting a certain amount of people in, making sure they wore their masks, and also the small business aspect. So my friends who are working in the hospitality industry, in the retail industry, restaurant industry is included in the hospitality industry too, but I'm talking about hotels, tourism, all of that. They actually are lucky to be in a state like Florida because those businesses are open. There's like restaurants are operating, people are still working, and the money they would be getting from unemployment in a state like Florida isn't really all that great. So the way they've handled it, kind of like opening it up a little bit, a lot of people might criticize and say, well, COVID this and that, but you're not paying attention to small businesses. I feel like even progressives like Bernie Sanders never really honed in on the small business aspect, how small businesses are losing out on this because the corporations got all their money, but the small businesses didn't, and they have to open. So you can, you know, look down on the nail salons and the hair salons and all of that. People are operating in full force in Florida with a lot of precautions still, with the whole set of things they have to follow. And trust me, they're very strict about it. But at least those people have jobs. Here in California, we're losing half of the small businesses because they're not allowed to open, because they were allowed to open and then they close back down. And that in itself hurts these businesses. And that's not being addressed. So I'm over here thinking, wow, is a state like Florida actually handling this better in the sense of the small business aspect? And I think that's true. I really think, like, if you're gonna try to shut everything down, I'm sorry, you have to give people money. You can't expect people not to earn a living if you're not taking care of them. And I think there was a lot the left could have done to reach out to people who have small businesses who tend to go Republican, because they're never reached out to. And if they did that, they would be in a different position right now, but they don't do that. They dismiss that. And so the Republicans go after these people. And so that's what I see happening in Florida. I don't know if you noticed that, but it was definitely really apparent to me.
Well, the government hasn't really provided any real solutions, have they? You know what I'm saying? So a governor like DeSantis, who, you know what I'm saying, he's his own person, is his own kind of crafty way. Nobody, you know, you won't hear progressives talk about the way DeSantis is on the environment and what he did. He was one of the better governors in Florida. We know this state, you know, way better than freaking Rick Scott. And DeSantis is his own kind of, you know, interesting human being and thinks independently, even though he definitely leans right on a lot of issues. But the way he had to handle the situation, which is kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Let me kind of open up these businesses, because you know what? They're not going to be able to survive if I don't do something. You know what I'm saying? And it was interesting the way he had to handle it. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, he had no other choice. He had no choice to do it. And the funny thing about this situation is everybody talks about the way China handled this situation. Like, oh, you know, Donald Trump is authoritarian, right? Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that. No, he's not. He passed it off to what the governors. He had to pass it off to the governors. He didn't want to overstep his boundaries. Here, Gavin Newsom, you have this money. You do what you got to do. Here in Michigan, you take this money. You do what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? If he was authoritarian, he should have signed a bill that says everybody's not going to worry about their rent for 4 months. Everybody's going to get money to put in the bank. We're going to freeze everything, but you're going to go on lockdown the whole country.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to see, if he was authoritarian, as they say he was, he could have done something like that. I know he would have liked to do that, but the whole time he was never going to buy into this because he's an economy guy, he's a businessman, and business comes first when it comes to Donald Trump.
Well, not just an economy and a businessman, but it's also like they're not going to do like the whole system is a capitalist system. Like, let's be real, not just Donald Trump, but the Democrats won't do it either. I don't think this country, any of our leaders, would shut anything down because also people are so against that idea of like being told what to do, of like having that, you know. I think it would have been actually better for us if we had shut down and just given people UBI and given the businesses their money. We wouldn't have to worry about COVID anymore. But we refuse to do that because we're not a nation that's comfortable with that, because our leaders are definitely not comfortable with that. And so now we're living the consequences of going in, half out, and having places like California that are ruining their economy, and we're the 5th largest economy. And so I honestly, I'm not, you know, I think I don't agree with DeSantis. I think he's a horrible person, and I hate that he's the governor, but I also didn't like Rick Scott. And I think the fact that some businesses are open in Florida, no matter how I feel politically about the leadership, is actually good for that state, because that state depends heavily on tourism and things of that nature. And if you're going to keep that closed without giving people and businesses any money, you're going to destroy that economy. So I mean, it's really difficult to say what to do, but I can't say I wouldn't have done the same thing in regard to opening up more. So
yeah. Well, let's be honest. Like, you know, people don't like being told what to do, right, fam? So what do? You give them extra money. And that's what it's all about. It's about the finances. We give all the money to the corporations, kick all the money up top. We can't get it to the regular people. You could piss people off and say, I don't want to, you don't want to be told to do, I don't want to be going inside. Okay, so here's some extra money. You take the money, you shut things down, you freeze the rents and the mortgages, you get the PP loans, the UBI, you make Medicare for all, you knock it out of the park 4 or 5 months, we're done. You know what I'm saying? But really, to tell you the truth, these guys were forced to play Russian roulette. And, you know, I mean, we're going to have some serious problems coming up here at the end of December when they start the eviction situation. They've only kicked the can down the road. They haven't solved the problem. And the tsunami is coming. And I'm not just talking about the guy behind the 1s and 2s over there. I'm talking about the real tsunami. So,
Pam, you're so cheesy. And let's not forget that they wouldn't give give us Medicare for all. Neither the Democrats or Republicans. They wouldn't give us anything like UBI because the lobbyists, the corporations, they don't allow that. So we can't get people comfortable with feeling safe and secure. We want people to continue working for the system, and the people that are out there that are going to be working, that are more eager to work, are the working class. So again, this goes back to the class issue for me of capitalism. Is that all you have on it? Yeah, skewer the rich. Anything else on the subject?
Yeah, real quick, I just want to know, Johnny, I want your opinion. The executive order and people getting the unemployment benefits, do you think it's going to help Trump, hurt Trump, make Trump win? Does it make a difference? People aren't paying attention. What's your opinion? I want Johnny Sue's opinion on it.
The fact that the Senate hasn't done anything, and that includes both Democrats and Republicans, McConnell, Pelosi, Schumer, really says a lot. And the fact that they took a vacation really says a lot. You know, Trump doing that, I feel like he's not doing it because he cares about the people. Right. I feel like he's doing it because he's trying to get some brownie points for the election, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I think. And, you know, I'll gladly accept that money, but yeah, we should have Medicare for all. We should have UBI already. You know, this is ridiculous that we're getting scraps from these fucking oligarchs
during a pandemic
in the richest country in the world.
Yeah,
it's crumbs. We should really be out there protesting that. That's what people should be doing.
The Democrats allowed themselves to be played so badly. They're so stupid. They're so dumb. They really are. They're terrible. Hey guys, go over to our ROKFIN, ROKFIN. There's only 6 people on there. There's 6 cool people. Fred Edward is one, Andrea is one, and Pijman is one. Thank you guys. Listen, all this stuff, we got 7. Come on, we want more people over there. All this stuff with YouTube, doing all this crap with their censorship left and right. They said the other day, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, that if you use anything from WikiLeaks, they can take down your stream.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So just the censorship is running wild. We need people to go over and sign up for the ROKFIN, ROKFIN. It's not that we don't appreciate you over on the YouTube helping us out and giving love. I love the YouTubes, but we need you on our ROKFIN. I want to say thank you to our
YouTube
120 Patreons. You guys are awesome. We love you. And just keep it coming. Fam.
So just everybody, if you can like the video, we have 62 likes or 82 likes. We have almost over 190 people watching. So go ahead and like the video. It helps the algorithm. But fam,
yes.
As you know, there have been several more shootings since we've been gone, and national protests have erupted in the wake of Jacob Blake, who was shot in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And let's go back to last week.
Hail Trump! Hail our...
Sorry, that's another segment I have over there.
Last week, I was like, whoa.
What happened?
Last week, Pasadena police, in our backyard, shot Anthony McLean, a 32-year-old African-American man who was pulled over for a traffic violation. And according to the LA Times, and we're going to watch the video in a minute. By the way, obviously the video is hard to watch, but basically the LA Times was noted that he was pulled over for a traffic violation, and then somehow they ended up shooting him, and then people went out and protested in the area. And let's just watch a little bit of the video, and then I'll break it down.
All right, step out there. We're going to talk on the sidewalk, all right?
Should I step out?
Yeah, please.
Am I stepping out?
Well, you don't have a license, right? You have a suspended license? So we step out of the car.
Okay.
We're talking on the sidewalk, all right?
All right.
Let's walk with my partner.
I'll get my mask.
I'll come back and grab for you, all right? Appreciate the concern, though.
The adult male passenger was also asked to exit the vehicle, and moments after emerging from the vehicle, he began to run from the officers while making a furtive movement with his left hand to the area of his waistband. He ran between the Infiniti and the police vehicle as he reached for the item in his waistband, while continuing to run in a southeasterly direction. The natural swinging movement of the individual's arms while running revealed what both officers immediately recognized as a firearm in his left hand. The officers gave chase and, after running only a few yards with the firearm in his hand in a raised position, the individual turned to his right and looked in the direction of the officers over his right shoulder. Fearing that the individual was turning to shoot at the officer closest to the individual discharged 2 rounds from his firearm. It was not immediately apparent if the fleeing individual had been struck by the gunfire, as he continued to run for a considerable distance. He eventually stopped running and fell onto the East Side Parkway of Raymond Avenue.
Okay. That was literally like right in our neighborhood.
What street is that? Damn.
That's Raymond and something.
I think it's out front of that park, Pasta.
I know where it's at. Jesus Christmas.
This is really weird that the Pasadena police put out this footage with like this narration and like all this editing.
It's really weird.
It's weird. That was a big criticism that I was hearing from the Pasadena protest that we were at the other day. I mean, this is really interesting. Your thoughts on that?
So, yeah, I just kind of I think that's weird as well. So a suspended license, right? Whatever. They can suspend your license if you don't pay a ticket for whatever reason. The guy was pulled over. He seemed pretty cooperative. Why are you, he's running away. He's not in danger if he's running away. I just like, okay, that initially is like completely doesn't make sense. But I'm just going to read a little bit of it. The video shows that McLean fled on foot with what appears to be something shiny around his waistband. In the description of the video, the weird video, they said it was a handgun and it was a slow motion and that the object can be seen on his left hand as he runs away. And the officer Perez said you can see the object in his hand, but Carrie Harper, which is the McLean family attorney, said that what they saw in the video was actually a large metal belt buckle. And he said, we believe that the area that police say it was a weapon was in fact his Michael Kors belt. So that's according to the lawyer. So they're completely rejecting the fact that it was a weapon. The department has pledged to identify the officers, but expressed concerns about their safety. The law requires the names of law enforcement officials involved in fatal shootings, but be released, but allows departments to withhold the identities when a specific threat exists. He said that Perez said that the shooting meets a state law enacted last year that changed California's standard for the use of deadly force from reasonable to necessary. So California went from a reasonable standard to use deadly force to necessary. The Democratic progressive bastion of the United States.
When did they do that?
Ladies and gentlemen, last year.
All right. Kamala
noting,
was a senator, huh? Didn't say shit.
Yeah, she's still senator. Oh yeah, she's. Let's not even get into that because I'll go on forever. They said that he posed an imminent threat, and this is what I have a problem with, because he wasn't. If it was a weapon, he wasn't pointing the weapon at anybody. He was, he was running away. But according to the law, they're allowed to use a deadly force on a fleeing person for any felony that threatens or results in death or serious bodily injury. And if they reasonably believe that the person will cause death or serious bodily injury, then they're allowed to do it. This is California. This isn't in Georgia, Mississippi. This is right here in California. So all the people that think that under a Biden presidency, a Democrat, things will be better for black people, here is an example of a state that literally says that police can use force if they see it necessary. So people were protesting outside of Mayor Tornek's house, as well as outside of the home of the Victor Gordo. Exactly.
Victor Gordo.
They wanted the release of the body cam, but what happened is that for some reason the body cam on one of the officers wasn't working. So it just happened to also not be working. And they're going to reconsider implementing a police oversight commission into the shooting because, remember, this is the police investigating the police. So I'm sorry if people don't have trust in that when we have seen it, it doesn't happen in a fair way. There was also a shooting in 2012 of 19-year-old Drake McDade, who was a questionable shooting by Pasadena police as well. So just an update, you guys, too, on Jacob Blake. Jacob Blake, who was shot 7 times in Kennesaw, Wisconsin. And this was Monday, right? Am I Monday, right? Yesterday he was shot, or was it before? No. Saturday. So he was shot on Saturday. And we're gonna watch the video as usual, but I just wanna say, like, it's obviously a really graphic video. Reportedly, he was breaking up a fight between 2 women, and he has now been paralyzed from the waist down. So,
Fiorella, somebody wrote Ben Riley. He put a super chat in there, but it's kind of interesting because it says the Supreme Court ruled decades ago that cops can shoot people in the back when trying to detain them, unless the suspect poses a clear life and death threat. Yeah, can shoot people.
Can.
Was it supposed to be say can? Was it say can shoot people or?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think unless they don't.
Yeah, unless they pose a clear life and death threat. I mean,
I don't know.
The shooting in the back, and hasn't Joe Biden come out and said just shoot him in the leg instead? But I mean. What is the reasoning behind that? I mean, can you guys explain to me what you think it is? Is like if he gets away, he can go kill somebody else potentially, or
but he was literally just
turn around and shoot at me.
Driving
what is the justification?
Car.
What is the justification?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he was just driving in his car and he got pulled over for a suspended license. Like, he wasn't like, I don't think your first instinct should be to shoot a person. Like, it seems to me that that's becoming the norm.
That's the training, though. So we need better training for the police. The training should be the first, like, there's multiple non-lethal ways to stop somebody fleeing. There's multiple non-lethal ways.
I think you got to go deeper than the training. I think you got to go.
Perez.
You got to go.
We know Perez. We met him before. We got to go talk to him. The chief of police in Pasadena, which was supposed to be better than the last chief of police. The last chief of police in Pasadena was engulfed in corruption and gun buying or smuggling. There was a bunch of shit about that. This guy was supposed to be better than the latter. Let's go talk to him, fam. Let's see what he's got to say.
Yeah, no, we can talk to them. I just don't believe in reforming the police because you're still
No, right.
they're being hired. They're still going to be hiring the same kind of people. Like certain people are hired to be police, and it's the certain people that are going to listen to rules without questioning them. And there's no. It takes 6 months to be a cop. I mean, the whole thing has to change. I just don't believe like just better training is enough because you're still going to operate under the same system, which derives from the military industrial complex. But so Jacob Blake is now paralyzed, and that is the latest news. He's now paralyzed. He survived, which is really rare. He survived this attack. So now we're going to be seeing what he says. But according to NPR and just multiple news outlets out there, he has been paralyzed, and they got this from the family lawyer. And as of last night, the protest erupted all over Kenosha, Wisconsin, and all across the nation. People were protesting in Oregon and Portland as usual, and people were protesting here as well.
In Richmond also.
Where?
In Richmond, Virginia.
Virginia. I mean, it was full on. But let's look at what exactly was going on in Wisconsin, because this is like, it's crazy. The governor declared a state of emergency, and they were protesting against police brutality for Jacob Blake. And they had the third night of civil unrest last night. And there was cars lit on fire, which turned out to be a car dealership. And there's a few videos that you can show. I think I put one on Twitter. Yeah, that's just. So people are calling these riots. And then
there goes the American flag.
Yeah, there goes the American flag. Okay, so this car dealership, Mr. Andy here, who like constantly has amazing things to say. He said, "What hashtag Kenosha, Wisconsin looks like during the daytime," and if you guys don't know Andy, I don't even know how to say his name.
Go. I think it's Go.
Andy Go. He's like a right-wing guy. So he's kind of mocking the situation. But this is a car dealership that was burned, right? And people are going crazy, like, over this car dealership. Like, oh my God, how can you burn innocent people's possessions? Poor people, poor cars. I don't think this is like the best tactic to burn cars. I mean, I don't really see what, necessarily that's going to get you. But here's my thing. It's a car dealership. I mean, this is my issue. Every single time a protest happens and people are angry and they show their anger in various ways, they burn whatever it is they burn, people focus, whether it's the media from both sides and the right, love to focus on the burned property. That's where the attention goes to, right? And a lot of people think that's a problem. Like, well, maybe they shouldn't do that because that's where all the attention goes to. But what should people do? Because like a riot is a language of the unheard, right? If you make peaceful revolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. People are really hitting a breaking point to where they're not. Like, what should they do? Because I have seen people peacefully protest and then be shot at. So I really don't know what the next course of action is. If I'm a person that feels targeted, what is my next course of action? If people aren't listening, if nothing is getting done, if Breonna Taylor's killers are still free with paid leave, they're out. They're not arrested. If this keeps happening, what do you expect people to do? I mean, why are we so focused on property over lives? I mean, I don't think it's, like I said, I don't think it's the best tactic, but I also think like, okay, so a car dealership was burned. It's sales, it's capitalism. Like I want to hear you guys' opinion on that, because
I'm not surprised in a capitalist system that people care more about the material stuff than, the humans.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, listen, they shouldn't. They should care about the humans more, and they should be way more outraged about what's going on and how it's going on. And all facets, too, whether it be economics, socioeconomics that are throwing people on the streets if it's bad bills, or bombing other countries and killing people, and our own police department at home killing somebody. But once again, I'm going to just double down on the fact that this isn't the best tactic, and we've spoken out when we see stuff like that, a tree on fire, which isn't necessary. Let's focus the attention where it needs to go. I mean, that's why I've never been really so upset when, the police kill somebody and somebody goes after the police precinct. That might make, a lot of Republicans get their panties in a twist, but I don't give a damn, because those are the people who the anger should be directed upon. Those are the departments that commit the sins. So the whole federal building in Portland, that's why I couldn't stand the fact that he was sending feds there, because I thought 100% the federal court should be hit because the federal government was screwing us. When you are screwing over individual property, I know it's not as important as a human life, but we don't know the stories about whose cars these are, if it was a family that owned this and their insurance won't cover everything, and what this is going to do to them. Is it as important as the person? No, but I don't like these particular tactics. I want the areas to be attacked that needed to be attacked. That's why sometimes with the corporations, I don't kind of fringe too much if people go after a Target or something like that, because once again, that's the corporations that are really living off the backs of the people. Individual property, I don't know about. It's hard to look at it. It could be we don't know the story about who owns the car dealership and what. Now, if it was a targeted attack at somebody who was part of the community who supported the injustices that are going on, and you're going after them, that it's, that's why I like the protest at politicians' house, like Garcetti, then I'm all for it. But once again, just to set up a car dealership, to set it on fire, not the best tactic. That's all I'm saying. It takes away from what we're trying to say, or takes away from what they're trying to say. I don't want to hijack their movement, but it takes away from what the poor and the progressive are trying to say, and it gives ammunition, I think, to the right wing and the people who are on the fence to maybe say, nah, I'm not all for that tactic. So that's just my honest opinion. So
yeah, maybe. I mean, I think it might give people the fuel, but I also think too, it's always going to be it always goes back to at any moment where any sort of property is hurt, it's like they're waiting to jump and be like, well, see, look what they're doing. Oh no. I think it comes more from a place of not wanting to really change things. I think the people that are more outraged about property really don't really see that the whole point is that when people are protesting, they're not going to protest in the way you want them to protest. You can't tell people how to protest. And first of all, I don't even know who did this. We don't know if it was people that are part of the movement, it could have been a lot of because even last night that we're going to show, we had people that were kind of divided on the tactics of the things they were going to be doing. I mean, this isn't a monolith of people protesting and stuff. People have different tactics. So to say, oh, look at what the left is doing, the crazy radical Antifa left, that is such a lie. It's so generalized, because it's not, it's only a few people that really want to do this and are really that angry. But even if that's the case, even if it is people from the Black Lives Matter movement, I still think that while it takes away and it's not necessarily the best tactic, I think it would be great to go and have a targeted police precinct or whatever, more things of that nature. I think the focusing on it is disingenuous. I just think the focusing on it is it's a cop out. No pun intended.
It's
a cop out.
Levels, right? I mean, some people are they said, I'm going down. I'm going to burn it all down. I am done with this. I've lost so much. I'm poor. This country doesn't give a shit about me. It doesn't give a shit about people who look like me. And I'm just going to burn it all fucking down, where there are people within the whole group. Like you said, it's not monolithic. With people in the group, it's we're going to target our energy where it needs to be targeted. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that is the most effective way. So yes, you can tell people how to protest, but I think if somebody comes together and puts it around and concentrates that energy where it needs to go, like I said, I love the protest out in front of Garcetti's house. It's the most effective thing out there. They know specifically who they're targeting. They know specifically what they want. And when other groups come together, and if they could stay together and channel that energy, I think you stand to gain more that way and win more people over than if somebody goes off. Because I love the videos too. Remember the videos of all the people from the Black Lives Matter, get out of here. You're not even breaking into a Target. You're not going to mess with our message. We're not going to let you ruin our message. Get out of here. Don't break in there. That's not what we want to do. I like that shit. I love that shit, and I want to see more of that. Sorry for cursing.
Well, some people don't like that shit. Some people are like, well,
I know they don't. I know
that, you know?
But that's me.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Well, going back to the shooting.
Yeah.
So let's watch the video so people know. If you haven't seen it, it's got 5 million views on Twitter here. So you can watch this.
Disturbing.
Wow.
So that's the video. He was walking towards his car and they shot him 7 times in the back. Now I see people on the right and shit be like, well, if you don't resist, then you won't get shot. They shouldn't be shooting people. They need to explore non-lethal ways of stopping somebody. And well, they say, let's take a look at this video that Snoop Dogg put up, and it's you'll see the 2 different responses of how they treat the Jacob Blake here and how they treat a white man who's brandishing a weapon and resisting. Who's resisting?
Get on the ground! Get on the ground now! Get on the ground!
The comparison. So this is a white man down here.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
They shoot Jacob Blake. White man goes into the ground, gets up.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground now!
He's not on the ground.
Dude, get on the ground.
Look how long the officer waits. He shoves him. He shot him in the arm. He's going after him. The cop starts running away.
He's chasing the taser didn't phase him. He's gonna shoot him. He's gonna shoot. Oh shit!
No, they didn't shoot him.
He's trying not to use his gun. Shoot his tires out. Shoot his tire out.
Look at that.
He gonna kill himself. Oh, here come the helicopter. Yeah, that's a helicopter. Here they come. Shoot his tires out, dude. Don't let him drive away. Oh, he gonna kill himself. Oh, watch out!
He drives a car into a cop car. He's doing all this shit.
He's running.
He's running.
Oh, he would have been killed him.
Nope, nothing.
Damn. So, but Nikki Haley said there's no racism in this country. So,
hold on. Here's the second one.
Twee's been winning fitter.
Here's the second one.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
He's holding a machete
You're gonna
here.
die! Step back! You put that down now! Put your hand down!
Wow.
So it was a
there's
white
so
man
many videos, Johnny.
swinging an axe. A black father who got shot in the back in front of his kids in the car.
You can find like so many videos of that. We can look at the guys that were taking over in Oregon. They were like the
Yeah, they took over the sanctuary of the federal, but they killed two of them
the
eventually
sanctuary
anyways.
guys. Yeah,
but they eventually killed 2 of them in the streets. You know.
I mean, yeah, but that's not the point. The point is that even was allowed to happen. There wouldn't be allowed a Black Panthers militia to take over anything. Like that would never happen. And so people can't deny that there's obviously racism within the police, as there is, within the other aspect of this country and how it's been run for years. It's not surprising. It hasn't been that long. So I just think like the focus on property is every time is to deflect away from what's happening. Like any sort of like, oh, well, if he would have done this or if he would have done that. We've shown you multiple instances where people do that and they still get shot. You can take George Floyd and how scared he was and how he got out of the car and did everything he was told. He was still killed. This is why people run away too. That's the other thing. Like if I were a black man, I'd be scared. I would run away. Like, because I've seen what happens when you don't run away too. So what I'm saying is the idea that that this is like, I don't know, that it's, and to compare property, and I understand the whole situation, like to compare it to Cassandra Fairbanks was out there saying, oh, like this makes me embrace full on, I want a full right wing guy that's worse than Trump now because of some cars being burned down. To me, that's freaking like, you don't want that because of this. You want to find excuses to give you the motivation to feel good, to say, this is why I want this. You've already made that choice. And I'm just sick and tired of people making excuses. And this is going to continue because people make excuses and because also movements get co-opted. Let's talk about last night, Johnny, because we went to a protest last night and it was interesting because there were different tactics and there were different people.
Real quick before last night, I just want to make everyone aware that I saw this on a story here, and it says that Luke Courtier, the cop who shot Jacob Blake 7 times in the back. Here's his picture, and then someone found his Facebook. He has Luke, and then it's his last name backwards, and then he had made a post back in 2014 about Dontre Hamilton and the supporters who were marching down Wisconsin Avenue over there for another black man who got shot. And he said his comment on that was, really? This is pathetic. It was a good shoot. Get over it already. That was that cop who who shot Jacob Blake in the back 7 times. That was his comment about 2014, another black man killing. So that just shows you that it looks that how many times do I have to tell you that a lot of cops are racist? How many times do I have to say it? Like, it's so, we have the evidence. It's there.
People just don't want to see it. They just don't want to see that. They're more comfortable pretending it's not that. Like, I'm just sick and tired of repeating it.
There are gangs in the LAPD. That story came out. There's a lawsuit there. So go ahead, Fee.
No, it's just gross. I mean, I don't know how many times more we have to talk about this for people to still continue and denying it. Like, no, well, maybe if they did this, maybe there's a way to reform the police. No, like, I mean, they're not going to stop because this is the structure. The police is an arm of the military-industrial complex, which is an arm of our system. It's the for-profit prison system. I mean, it's all connected. And what irritated me, though, last night was some people are still not aware that Joe Biden wrote the 1994 crime bill, which Bill Clinton signed into law, and which literally made things like this possible. So it's not enough just to vote in a Democrat, but it's also not enough to not recognize that there is a sort of like situation where what Trump is saying and doing is making other people feel empowered and emboldened. And Trump's supporters are oftentimes far worse than he is. I think Trump is just more of a showman. He's a con man. I think he's just capitalizing on all these things by trying to be the president of law and order. But let's not forget that the governor, Evers, was out there sending the National Guard to Wisconsin, sending more police forces there. These are Democrats.
Yeah.
These are Democrats that are operating just like Republicans. This isn't a Democrat-Republican situation. This is like a situation where fascism, whether it's crypto-fascism or full-on fascism, is encroaching both on our civil liberties and both on our rights as human beings to have freedom of speech, freedom of protest. All of these things are happening. And it's the sooner we realize that it's more of the neo-fascist coming together against the people, and the closer we will be able to get through this. But people need to stop licking the boot of the oppressor. They need to stop doing that. Like, stop defending cops when, like, a cop being a police is a profession. You're not a person. It's a profession. When they say Blue Lives Matter, it's a profession. You're comparing a profession to a human being.
Yeah.
And people are still uncomfortable with saying the term Black Lives Matter. If all lives matter, why can't you just say that? Why does it make you so uncomfortable? Like, nobody's saying, like, your life isn't important. But right now, it seems like we demean these lives a lot less. And it's systemic what's going on here. We're trying to solve a problem that has been rotten for years and years and years by both parties, by the plutocracy. And we need to understand that in order to resolve it. We can't just say vote in November as if that's going to change anything.
And that's a big criticism, right?
I just think that no matter what, with the protest, I just want to concentrate on the people of power. It's even when you guys went to Seattle, it's like when they were getting up in the cops' face and the one leader was like, don't even talk to the cops. They have no power. Let's go. We're going over to the politician's office who make the laws, who make this problem systemic. Let's go after them. That's what I even appreciated about Portland, because at the end of the day, it was a federal building. And I thought it made Trump like an idiot for sending feds there for graffiti and all these other things. But at least I was happy about where the protest was aimed at, who was pointing at. It did become an anti-Trump thing, but it's the federal government. It's the system we have to go after. So that's my only criticism, was like the car dealer versus the precinct. Let's go to the precinct. So.
Right. And all they need to do is arrest the freaking cops. That's all they need to do. They need to be held accountable for their actions,
just like anybody else would.
Yeah, we got to reform that whole system. That whole system's got to be reformed too, so as well. Yeah. The protest yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you didn't see it last night, you know, myself and Fiorella were at downtown LA. They do have another protest tonight at 9 p.m. They showed up to the LAPD. First, they were at City Hall, and then we showed up a little bit later. And they started marching around downtown LA, and then they came back to LAPD office where they were there standing along a fence. Eventually the fence came down. They took it down. There's just police there. And then, but no one was really being violent. You can watch the whole stream. Everyone's just kind of protesting, doing their chants. This guy's flashing a light, flashlight. The most I saw was thrown was a water bottle.
Oh no!
And eventually, police made it an unlawful assembly. Even though they're just there protesting and for Jacob Blake and Anthony McClain.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, you know, they started coming in. They started pushing towards the protesters. Started pushing them away. It seems they did not want a protest out front of their precinct, out front of their station here.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys going tonight?
I'm going to try and go.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to wear helmets and goggles if you go. Understand?
All right, Grandma
for
Pasta.
sure.
Don't tell me. I saw pink tear gas there yesterday.
So I think that was just smoke because the cops didn't even have any goggles on. And I saw some pictures where it was, but still, it's like, what the hell, you know?
Anything you wanted to show, or I was going to say something?
I'm showing. Yeah, you can go ahead and.
Oh, I just wanted to say one of the things I saw was that the protesters came more prepared this time than I've seen in other protests. There were even people with shields, people with helmets, people with umbrellas, kind of reminiscent of Portland. And they were shouting, stay close, stay together. We do this every night. Which, by the way, if anybody's going to go protest, I like the stay close, stay tight. We do this every night because it just rhymes better. But exactly. That's what I wanted to point out.
People were like, that's it, I'm leaving. They're like, nope, stay close, stay tight. We do this every night. And it was like day 60.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Like, you cannot, if I were a protester, which we're not, we're covering it. You would go and you realize that the more people you have, the less they can kettle you. They kettle you when you're spread out everywhere, and they can like go after some people. So that's why the organizers or the people that were leading whatever the protests were saying, do that. That's why they do it in Portland, because when there's enough people and you're close of a mob of people, they can't kettle you. They're forced to like try to like use gas on you. But what happens towards the end of of yesterday was that people did kind of like scurry away. And so when you get small enough, that's when they're able to kettle you.
Yeah.
And that's a situation you don't want to be caught in if you're a protester, because you're going to get arrested.
Yeah.
So
they do it like 3 times throughout the night. Like that's all they were doing in Portland. It was like 3,000 people there. They come out. Oh, next time when they go back in, there's only 1,000 left. Come out, do it again.
Right.
Only 500 left. The third time, kettle your ass. You're done.
Yeah.
So Ben Riley said, by the way, no Tennessee versus Gamer 471 US 1985 said police can't just shoot you in the back. Well, they're doing it. Sorry, Ben. I thank you for the super chat contribution. And guys, I don't know if you saw my our earlier story. We said if you're in one of those states, the check is coming. So just want to let you know your money will be there, and we super appreciate the super chat contributions therefore. So thank you very much. It's always appreciated on the couch.
But you don't have to.
Never have to.
Keep that money.
We love you.
Buy food.
Thank you for doing the first one you did.
We appreciate the support.
We do.
Yeah,
we do. We got a lot of places.
Right
That's
now,
what keeps us going.
Right now on the screen, we're looking at right before the police became more aggressive. They had the helicopter out the whole time. The helicopter was running for like 2 hours. They always have the helicopter running. That's like thousands and thousands of dollars per hour. For that, here they are. They ran past us. Let's listen to a little bit of what happened here.
Jesus. Okay, we are backing away from the area right now. It seemed to me like they specifically went for certain people. So we are clearing the area. There's no tear gas being deployed at this point, which is... Okay, we're going to switch to audio, guys.
You don't have a cable.
That just smoke from what?
Not going there. Leave the area.
And I want to reiterate that last night on the stream I said it's just 150 kids. They're not really kids. It kind of diminishes what they are. They're youth. That's what I meant by saying that. Is that they're the
young
youth
people,
and they're young people, and it's like they're really afraid of like a group of like 100 young people protesting outside of their the LAPD here. And they haven't been aggressive at all.
Oh, it's pulling a fence is being aggressive, though. So, I mean, here's the thing: like, they were using the fence as a shield from to protect from the cops. That's what people do in Portland. They've been watching the Portland protests. They've been watching how people have done things. I think it was smart to go to the police station because that's an area where you want to protest. That's the representation of what the issue is,
And because LAPD hasn't prosecuted any police.
Jackie Lacey, the DA, has refused to prosecute
Deep Space is putting you're fighting a shadow when you fight cops. You should be fighting the masters of the cops.
But how can you fight the master? I agree with that.
Because
but
that's
how
why
can you
nobody's
fight
getting
the masters of
prosecuted,
the cops?
though. You know what I'm saying? Because Jackie Lacey refuses to prosecute people.
But she's their minion. They're her minions, and above her goes somebody else, and above her goes somebody else.
Start climbing the
so
ladder.
if you're fighting a battle, you got to get through those people to
It's got to
take.
be all fronts.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, They were at Jackie Lacey's house.
I like that.
And,
I like that.
And the husband of Jackie Lacey pulled out a gun on these protesters and is actually facing charges.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she pulled it out right on Melina Abdullah.
Of all people, on Melina Abdullah.
Oh, and then Melina Abdullah also got swatted. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but basically someone said that someone's being held hostage in her house, and then the SWAT team shows up and
they go in.
Breaks down your door, breaks down your window.
That's kind of how they killed Breonna Taylor.
Terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I was going to ask about that. Like, I understand, like, we need to go after the core problem. Like, but cops are being told what to do by higher forces, right? So, like, if the world sees what's happening here, maybe that's the way to do it. These people don't have access to the politicians. They can go to their houses, which they've been doing, but then other people criticize that as well. How dare you go to someone's place of living? There's always going to be criticisms as to how people protest. Like, nobody cares, like, to satisfy the way somebody else wants you to protest. The point is, like, you haven't been heard, and you're protesting because your voice hasn't been heard.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying the lawmakers are the ones you want to show up at their house. The lawmakers, they make the laws. You got to change these laws to get some real change. And once again, yeah, you're right. You can go up above them and go to their donors and whatnot. And by the way, Louise Brooks, I hope you got your shirt. She said, and I lost it right here. It says, thank you for the super chat contribution. Thanks to all Save Safe. I feel like YouTube will cut all progressives off soon. ROKFIN sending love. And that's true, guys. Go over to the ROKFIN. And why aren't the cops protecting the sacred buildings and let the people protest?
Well, yeah, exactly. Deep space cops are a distraction. Well, no. Cops are the, like, if we're looking at a chessboard here, they're the pawns. Like, they're the pawns. If they're such a distraction, if they're so unimportant, then they should stop killing people. Like it can't be both.
Well,
like,
here's the thing: is that there's races in the police force. So
right, you have to tackle that too.
You can't tell people to not battle against races because obviously we want to eliminate races, right?
Yeah, but it's how you battle it. Don't you battle it to make sure you have a screening process to find these cops before they even get in? Don't you give more mindset to who's making those laws and you hold them accountable? Because then they'll weed themselves out. The fact that they get to kill somebody, remain a racist inside the police department and continue to do it, and nobody above them is holding them accountable is just the biggest sin. You know what I'm saying? And once again, it's like that's the lower level of the totem pole. You know, if we're supposed to be in a representative government, let's go after those people who allow those things to happen, because that's where the real change takes place.
But to get to those people, you kind of have to, like, cops are like the first layer. Like, you can't tell people not to protest cops when they're the ones doing the murder. So it's not a distraction as much as like a direct thing. Like, people do need to realize that above cops there are, like, lawmakers, and above those lawmakers are corporate overlords and all that stuff. But people aren't going to realize that if they don't do this.
They've been to Jackie Lacey's house. They've been to Garcetti's house. They've been to the police.
Yeah.
They've been to police. Some sheriffs who killed somebody, they went to his house.
That's why I like these particular groups that are doing these. These groups are really thinking.
Nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Nothing has happened. Like, that's peaceful as it gets. So, like I said, like JFK has said, one of my favorite people, if you make peaceful revolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. And if politicians don't listen and don't see what's happening here and say, you know what, stop. Because what I did see was that the LAPD wasn't as bad as they were a few months ago in West Hollywood, because they got a bunch of lawsuits coming after them. I don't think it was because they felt any different. I think it was because they were told, hey, you got to be careful because we got all these lawsuits.
Bankrupt the state.
With us.
They were cool, then they were assholes. Now they're trying to be good again. It's all over the place. You guys got anything else?
Yes, real quick. I just want to say that Vishal, who was there, who's been a protester / journalist on the ground, He says that last night they were shot with rounds made in 2014 and 2010. Rubber bullets expire after 5 years. Every single rubber bullet fired last night was beyond expired and had the potential to be lethal rounds. All of the ejected casing I examined and collected were expired, no exceptions. This was the deliberate use of lethal force against peaceful protesters. And we also saw that they were targeting specific protesters.
Yep, that's what I wanted to say.
That's the new thing now. We saw that at Portland too as well. They go up, they target their people, come down, grab them, and go back inside. So I mean, that's the scary part right now when you talk about infringing on the civil liberties. No due process, nothing, just no reading your rights, just get them and grab them. Terrible.
Yeah, that's what we were like talking about. Me talking on the microphone, and like I heard the police officer being like, "Hey, go after that girl with the helmet," and there were people that looked like Antifa. Right, like they were wearing like the helmet and the A, and
they did have the flag with the
like
A.
yeah, they had that whole getup or
and
whatever.
The group, the BLM group, was kind of like wary of that Antifa.
Yeah,
group.
Like I said, they're not a monolith, and a group left. Right, they were like, "Oh, we're out."
Black Unity LA left.
Yeah, they left early on,
and they have a camp. They have a camp in front of City Hall, and it's still going.
Right.
Which was started by Black Future Project.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're not a monolith, but like the police know who to go after. Like they're looking to see who are like the agitators and the people they think are like the organizers or whatever. So they know who to target. Like because they run past like a bunch of people, not just us, obviously, but like
they start knowing who their targets are and
people.
whatnot, and they're gonna start going after them. So.
Yeah.
Real quick, they also got this video.
They gotta play the Imperial March.
That's hilarious. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they were playing Imperial March as the cops walked in. You know, they did it. They sung it.
That's great.
Funny.
That's great.
That's hilarious.
Okay, and then in the news, real quick, it's the 1 year of the death of Elijah McClain.
Jesus Christ, 1 year.
Was it really a year ago?
You know, yeah, it was a year ago. But when we covered it a few months back, people were protesting his death because of the George Floyd protests.
Yeah.
So, and that's when they had the violins out.
That was a year
the cops
ago?
Came and shut it down. Well, Elijah McClain was killed a year ago, but they were protesting it as the George Floyd protest.
So they must have only released the footage around that time. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it didn't just. A lot of people just didn't know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see. Wow. That's a shame, man. That's. I don't even kill flies.
Yeah, Elijah McClain. That one was really bad, and yeah, I was doing some investigative journalism into the police department there, and it looks like there was
there's been a lot
an environment that pushes, you know, they're not you know, what's it called? I can't think of it. They're not approving of not killing him, is what I'm saying. They're not.
Well, you had those situation with those cops too, Johnny. The ones who were taking pictures in the grave.
Like they want him. They
have a community.
That?
Yeah, they're like pushing it together, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's a community of like, oh yeah, good job.
Right.
Good job.
Right.
You did that.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, the words are not coming to.
It's more of like it's the environment too. That's what I mean. Like you can't just like slap on reforms and fix it. Like it's the whole way the whole thing has operated since the beginning of time. It was created to go after slave
patrol.
So you can't have that same thing. You have to like start over. I've seen actually more calls to abolish the police now more than ever than even before. And I don't think it means like there's not going to be the existence of any sort of police. I think it just means like it's going to be completely different. So you're abolishing like the way it was done before.
And then the last thing I have in the news was I want your guys' take on the fact that Richard Spencer is
Jesus.
now endorsing
They're
Joe
proudly,
Biden.
they're proudly, yeah. Come on, no cop.
He's a proud white supremacist.
Oh Jesus, they're proudly.
Now,
Please, they're so stupid. The
yeah.
Democrats.
So Richard
dumb.
Spencer has endorsed Joe Biden. He tweeted this recently.
Pretty much.
He tweeted "Good times," and it was trends. It was Nazi Germany and Richard Spencer's name, and were trending. And he's like, "Good times." That just tells you the kind of person this guy Richard Spencer is. Here's an article about it. Richard Spencer backs Joe Biden. Says MAGA alt-right moment.
So that's
over.
a real Biden a logo on that shit. So they're really bragging about it, huh? Jesus Christ.
For sure. Text Joe to 30330.
This is hilarious. I feel like this is all like I still feel like we're in an SNL episode.
Yeah, it is. It's the
Like,
Onion. We're living the Onion.
The Onion is real news now. And I just want to say, like, that's what irritated me last night, because a couple of people were like, remember to vote in November.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yo, like, you're always going to have those people that, like, say that think like Joe Biden is going to help in any way, shape, or form, that think like Trump. Black Lives Matter started when Obama was president. Like, you can't ignore that. You can't ignore that Obama didn't do a single thing about Flint, Michigan. But more than any of that, even before Obama got there and after Reagan, you had the crime bill. And the architects of the crime bill are Joe Biden and people like Bill Clinton. And those people literally created these policies. And now you're going to expect me to believe that Joe Biden is going to turn around and fight against these policies that he helped create? Like, that is ludicrous to me. Like, that is insane. I don't care that he has a D next to his name. He worked with segregationists, for crying out loud. Like, it's insane. And then we have top cop Kamala Harris, too, on the ticket. It is a joke. This is why Richard Spencer supports it, because it falls right in line to what somebody like he believes.
I'm saying maybe he thinks Joe Biden is more racist than Trump or more white supremacist than Trump because Joe Biden created the crime bill.
He created the policies that Trump is now exploiting.
Yeah.
Trump wouldn't be able to exploit that as easily if you really wanted to, but like not as easily if the foundations weren't set in there for that to happen. So,
all right, we're ready to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Anything else, Johnny?
Nope, that is it. I was gonna play this video, but you know what, people, you go watch it. That's where he says "Hail Trump," and this was back in 2016 in November.
Oh, Spencer.
Yeah. Spencer. Yeah. So I don't know. It's really bad. You guys listen to what he's glorifying the colonialism, imperialism that white people did,
of course
which is disgusting.
Yeah.
So everybody go to ROKFIN.
Yes, guys, ladies and gentlemen,
All right,
very
guys.
important. We're gonna take the stream down. We'll have it cut up and put up in pieces. But if you want to watch the whole live stream, please go to our ROKFIN, ROKFIN. We had 15 people watching on live. We need 20 plus every time. That's the fam rule. Fiorella says at least Bente every single time. And thank you to our 120 patrons.
I don't say that.
If you get that check and you can help us out, we love it. We appreciate it. We take everything that you give us and put it back into action by going out into the field, going to politicians. And next time I see Debbie Wasserman Schultz, I won't let her off the hook so easy. So for Pasta Jardula, and Johnny Sue on those ones and twos.
Combo out. Bye,
guys.
Peace.